Good morning. Magandang umaga sa inyong lahat. It's Saturday and it's a beautiful day. However, we're about 30 minutes late, but that's okay. Live on Kababayan, kasali kayo. Stay tuned because we have a lot of things to talk about this morning. Some interesting things from abroad and here on Guam and the Philippines. Trending news from the Philippines. So, tutok lang ho kayo dito sa Kababayan Kasali Kayo. I'm your host, Sally Aquino, and this is Episode 6, September 24, 2022. In the meantime, we'll do a short commercial break and we'll be right back. Welcome back to Kababayan Kasali Kayo. This is your talk show host, Sally Aquino. Just keep on watching. Today, I'm going to start off with the topic on inflation because inflation has affected all of us, everybody around the world. There's a saying that too much of a good thing is not a good thing. And that's, I suppose, is what's happening with the inflation. I'm going to talk in English and then translate a little bit in Tagalog later so that my kababayans who can understand what I'm talking about. Anyway, so too much of a good thing is not a good thing, not all the time. So this inflation issue is happening all over the world. As a matter of fact, just yesterday, the United Kingdom, which has the pounds as its currency, has declared recession. Now, let's to understand what inflation is all about. Inflation is, for example, halimbawa, when you have a low, your tire is low on air, so you go to the gas station and put on air, and what happens to the tire? It inflates, right? The same thing with when you refer inflation to the economy. That's what happens when the economy is inflated and the economy is growing too fast. Lumalaki yung ekonomiya natin dahil maraming pera na dumarating. So lumalaki yung gastos din. So what happens is inflation occurs when the economy grows bigger and fast. Okay. There's a ripple effect, and there's also good and bad. There's good and bad about inflation. But to understand inflation better, let me just explain in layman's term what happens. Okay. Before, people enjoyed lower rates. When we go to the bank to borrow money, we enjoyed lower rates to buy cars, to buy homes. I know that the mortgage rate, like in January, was I would say 2.25 was the lowest, and then I believe around about 3 months after that, it closed at 2.86%, depending on where you borrow. So that's a fast that's a fast track. That's a fast moving interest rate. So you know, those who are cautious know that the trend will probably go higher and higher. I remember asking my son every time I, contact him in Messenger, and just to check how he's doing. And he says, "I'm doing fine, Mom." And I said, "Well, what are you doing with your income? I hope you're not depriving yourself." And my son would say, "Just saving for the rainy days. Just saving for the rainy days." And I never questioned my son what that meant. But I suppose he's adept to, you know, reading or listening about the economy, so he knows, I believe, that something like this, inflation is going to happen. I know that he bought a condo in Honolulu and he closed at 2.25%, and that's very good at that time. Now nowadays that's not happening. Okay, and so before inflation, people were enjoying lower rates to buy homes, to buy cars, to buy luxury items. They borrowed money because of the low interest to go on their dream vacation. Well, today that's not happening. And just on Monday, or was it Monday or Tuesday? That was the 19th or the 20th. The U.S. Federal Reserve raised its benchmark interest rate by 0.75%. That ranged to 3 to 3.25 the last 3 days. And why? And this is probably the fifth time that the U.S. Federal Reserve has raised its interest. And so we all know that the U.S. Federal Reserve controls how the market goes all over the world. I mean, countries would adjust because of the rates that are set by the Federal Reserves. And why does the United States Federal Reserve do this? It's its way. It's the only way, or the best way, to curb inflation, to stop the growth of the economy, and control the ever increasing prices of commodities. And so what happens when higher interest rates is raised by the U.S. Federal Reserves? It makes borrowing money more expensive, slows down the economy, and it could possibly cost higher unemployment. But it's got to be done, because that's how they control inflation, the fast growth of the economy. And so that's what's been happening. Mid-year 2022, we've all enjoyed the low rates. We can go to the bank and say, "Oh, I want to borrow this, and I want to borrow this amount." And as long as you have a good credit standing, then you can get your loan, and you will be paying a lower interest, a lower monthly payment during that time. Well, today that's not going to happen, and so another example is, because of what's happening with inflation today, the money that you borrowed, let's say 20 years ago, for your mortgage, for your house mortgage. That's if you have a what they closed a fixed rate loan, that monthly payment, mortgage payment, is not going to be the same today if you were to go to the bank and borrow it, because the interest rate is higher. So you were lucky then. If you borrowed 20 years ago and you locked it in 30 years, you'll stay at that rate and continue to make a lower payment, versus somebody who borrowed, let's say, about 3 months ago and locked in a higher rate. Then they will be paying a higher mortgage because of the rates going up. Excuse me. I've been having problems with my throat lately. So that's a thing with inflation. When interest rates go up, then it makes it difficult for people to go and borrow and keep monthly payment lower. Okay. So higher rates dampens consumers' buying and borrowing capacity. That's the bottom line. Inflation is worldwide. And so what are the causes of inflation? In 2021, we had the pandemic related fiscal and monetary stimulus. Those are the stimulus that we received from the federal government. So we enjoyed a lot of spending when the stimulus, I mean, here in Guam, when the stimulus was given to us, we had the 1,400 twice. And then what else? Did other people get other stimulus? And yeah, and then of course, money coming from the earned income tax for children, right? Something like that. Anyway, but I don't qualify for EITC anymore. So I just got the 1,400. And people were not cautious. Most people were not cautious. So they spent and spent. And so what that did to the economy here and elsewhere is, there's too much money going around. So the economy was going faster. The growth was going faster. But it also cost the economy because of factors like, the pandemic, and especially Russia's invasion of Ukraine. That drove up all commodities. It became higher. So that's beyond our control. Now, I don't know about Guam, but I know that in the Philippines, for example, price gouging is a big thing over there. I don't know here if it's even monitored, but price gouging was going on in the Philippines, in India, and other countries. Okay, so that affected the situation now, which is the inflation. So the economy is growing too fast, and the cost of living rises. It's rising too fast than wages, and that's another major thing. So prices are going up, and people with fixed income, for example, or people on welfare. They're the ones that are mostly affected with prices going up. Now, inflation, I believe, in my opinion, inflation is beneficial. Would I say beneficial? Or it's good for the rich, the moneyed ones, because then now they have the option to invest their money in money market, which now the interest rates have gone up. CDs, stocks, what else? Bonds, especially government bonds. Those have good return of investment. So for the moneyed people or the rich in cash, this is inflation is good for them. But for the poor, no, it's not. So we just have to, and I think I'm in that category. I think we just have to watch how we spend our money and where we put our money. Okay. For example, if you have an excess or savings, or if you have some money to put in the bank, let's say 10,000, that will, because we feel that that's probably the safest place to invest that 10,000. Okay, so that 10,000 at a 4% interest, we can earn perhaps quarterly $100, $108. Is that a good thing? Yeah, it's a good thing because it's safe to put it in the bank. But if you have, there are other ways to invest that $10,000 so that you can get ahead, so that you can make some money to buy the things that you need that are very expensive. Does that make any sense? I think it does, Eric, right? Save money in the bank because it's the safest way to do it. But there are other ways to earn a little bit more if you have some excess money. But I'll talk more about that when we come back, and we'll do a short break. Tutok lang po kayo dito sa Kababayan, kasali kayo. Welcome back sa Kababayan, kasali kayo. Good morning. I'm Sally Aquino, and I was talking about inflation and the cost of inflation and the effects of inflation, and maybe I'm talking too fast. So anyway, there's a good thing about inflation. It's good for the moneyed people, the rich. Okay, but it's not good for the middle income and the fixed income people, especially and definitely the poor will suffer because inflation causes commodities prices go up, and we've felt that effect here on Guam. Now recently I was in Manila. And when I arrived there, I was so excited because here they were selling, the exchange rate for peso was between 56.50 to 56.75. In the Philippines, it was over 57 plus more to $1. So the Philippine peso has really weakened. So when I was there, I was able to exchange my dollars to 57.05. Of course, if that was the rate in the Philippines, the remittance company cannot charge that because they have to make money, of course. Okay. And I got there on my birthday, which was the 14th. So the highest rate I got was 57.10 to $1. And because I had things to do, I went ahead and whatever money I had exchanged it at that rate. Now, a week after, so I came there on the 14th, on September 20, the peso weakened again, and it reached, I believe it was 58. It was running between 58.25 to 58.35. Okay. So that was a biggie. And I think I lost a lot to my dollar when that happened because I didn't have any more money. So the Philippines, of course, I have to talk about the Philippines because that's the only place that I frequent nowadays because of airfare going anywhere else are getting expensive. The Philippine peso has weakened. In other words, it's the exchange rate has gone so high, affected by the U.S. Federal Reserve's raising its interest rates. So you see the trend in just a matter of 1 week, it jumped from 57.10 to 58.25. That's an increase of 1 peso and 15 centavos to every dollar. That's very significant. And there's nothing that the Central Bank of the Philippines can do about that. They have no control about the interest rates. Now, people are over there are complaining about high prices, rents. For those who rent apartments or condos, it's getting more and more expensive. Now, who benefits from the increase of the exchange rates to dollar are the overseas foreign workers. And this is a good time for them to send money back home, especially now that Christmas is just around the corner. And I believe the 58.25, 58.35 might even go right before Christmas, maybe 59 or maybe even 60. We don't know. Just all depends. But that rate, 59, is highly possible, very possible. So the central bank, the economy of the Philippines relies very much on the remittances of these OFWs, the overseas foreign workers, and that helps the Philippine economy. Now, where else can you invest if you have a little savings or a lot of savings? Personally, in my opinion, I like, instead of putting the money in the bank, I've tried buying real estate. And I think that's the best place to put your excess income or whatever savings you have. Real estate would be the best place to put it right now. I wouldn't, to those who are planning to or have been planning to build their dream home, it's still possible. But if your income cannot slightly cannot meet that high mortgage, okay, you might want to hold off and just it, you know, invest on a land. Uh, I don't know. That's my opinion. You can contact real estate companies here. You can inquire about owners financing as far as buying land. I don't know about homes if they will allow that. So, for example, if you wanted to invest in a land, um, if you go to the bank, it's they can only finance 60%, so you come up with the 40. That's not so bad, but you can ask around, contact your favorite realtor, and inquire about owner's financing because the down payment, instead of borrowing from the bank to buy a land, the down payment on an owner's financing, I believe, is only like 20, 25%, 30% at the most, maybe, versus the bank, which is only, they require you to pay 40% upfront and they finance 60%. Okay. So that's my personal opinion. I wouldn't build right now because the cost of labor and materials are just construction materials are just so way up there. I would hold off on that. That for me, I would. I prefer to buy land and build a house if I were in that situation. Okay. And so inflation, we don't know how long this is going to last, but it is predicted that it will go until, I would say, the early part, according to economists. uh, it will be around until 2023. When that, nobody knows. We just have to be cautious, tune in to programs that talk about the interest rates. That's how you learn the trend, what's happening with the inflation. Um, Again, uh, we just have to be cautious about our spending. Um, sa aking mga kababayan, alam ko mahilig tayo sa yung mga parelax-relax diyan na paminsan-minsan pumupunta sa bingo para, you know, uh, take that chance of winning the jackpot money. Uh, Siguro kung ginagawa nyo yun, linggo-linggo, if you go to the bingo every week and spend what, $99 or $90 for cards? I've never gone to a bingo, but I hear this from friends. So if you went to bingo and you spent $99 every week, or even $90 every week, at 4 weeks you'll be spending 360. Can you afford that? Can you afford that leisure during inflation? That's a lot of money that you're gonna let go just playing bingo. Isa pang hilig natin, and ako talaga, ito ang laro ko, yung paglalaro ng mahjong, so daily, hindi ka naman, kung maglalaro ka araw-araw or every other day, hindi mo naman masasabi kung swerte ka o mananalo ka. Kung matalo ka ng matalo, napakalaking nawawala sa iyo noon. Kung wala ka pang trabaho, sinusubukan mo lang isugal yung huli mong pera. Let's say, kung may pera kang 300 for the month, no, isusugal mo yun. Paano kung natalo yun? Ano nang mangyayari sa'yo? Nagre-renta ka pa ng bahay. Meron ka pang mga anak na tinutustusan. Paano na yung mga pagkain, pagbili ng pagkain? Yung mga ganong bagay, mga kababayan, tingnan natin ang trend. Kung ano man yung mga nakasanayan natin na pampaalis ng stress, siguro kailangan i-adjust natin yung sarili natin, no? Hindi masamang makipagmahjong, basta alam lang natin kung ano yung limit natin para sa ganun hindi tayo mahirapan. Kaya tumutok din kayo, mag-Google kayo, makinig kayo sa magbasa kayo ng mga dyaryo para malaman nyo yung trend. Kung gumaganda ba ang ekonomiya o hindi. At yung mga stimulus na yan, huwag nyo nang asahan yun. Darating at darating yan. Pero nakakasama nga kung minsan yung mga stimulus na yan, yung mga freebies na nanggagaling sa gobyerno. You know, kasi oras na nahawakan natin pera, meron na tayong plano na to spend it all at one time. Hindi natin iniisip yung mag-save pag nakahawak na yung mga tao ng ganong pera. Kaya hinay-hinay lang dahil the economy doesn't look good until 2023. Ngayon, darating pa yung malapit nang dumating yung Christmas, 'di ba? Gusto naman nating maging masaya ang Christmas natin kahit na mahal. At least meron tayong naitabi para pambili ng mga kailangan natin, pang Noche Buena, regalo sa ating mga anak o kaya mga ating apo, 'di po ba? Kaya hinay-hinay lang po. Sa mga okay naman na maganda ang trabaho dito, ang payo ko, mag-ipon, magpadala ng pera, pwede para sa magpadala kayo sa Pilipinas dahil mataas ang rate ngayon. Para kung ngayon, magpadala na kayo dahil mataas na nga ang rate para kung balak nyong magbakasyon sa Pilipinas, at least nandun na yung pera. Di po ba? Hindi yung ora-orada kung kailan kayo uuwi, dun lang kayo magpapapalit ng dollars. At ito po ang tatandaan nyo, pag uuwi kayo sa Pilipinas, mga kababayan, hanggat maaari, huwag kayong magpapalit sa airport. Hindi ko naman minamasama na magpalit kayo sa airport, pero huwag nyong ipalit lahat ang inyong dalang dolyar sa airport kasi mababawasan ng mga ₱1 yung exchange rate kasi sa airport mababa, and sometimes most of the times it's like $1 less, ₱1 less. Sayang din yun. Kung halimbawa nagpapalit kayo doon na 1,000, nawalan kayo ng ₱1,000. Malaking bagay po yun sa atin. Kaya halimbawa, lumapag na yung aeroplano, magpapalit lang kayo ng pangbili nyo ng SIM, mga loads sa Globe or Smart. At saka kung wala kayong sasakyan na susundo sa inyo, yung pang-taxi nyo, pang-tip nyo. Ganun lang po, Huwag niyong ipapalit lahat yung pera niyo sa Pilipinas airport. Maghanap kayo ng maraming nagbibigay ng magandang exchange rate ngayon sa Makati, sa Manila, sa Taguig. Sa probinsya may kaliitan lang, siguro mga 10 centavos, 15 centavos. Pero sa mga gustong mag-ipon ng pang Pasko nila sa Pilipinas, this is the time to do it. Magpadala na po kayo. O kaya ipunin nyo at pagdating nyo doon, maaring tumaas pa sa 58.25 ang exchange rate. Napakaswerte nyo po. Okay, so yun lang po ang may papayo ko. Ngayon, kung marami-rami naman po kayo ng marami-rami ang inyong ipon, naiipon na, pwede naman po kayong mag-invest sa real estate dito, kaya real estate sa Pilipinas. And by the way, nung nandun ako, tiningnan ko ang hilig ko kasi ito yung magtititingin kung anong mga presyo ng mga lupa, yung mga ganun, kung anong nangyayari sa yung ROI, return of investment mo. Kung halimbawa nakabili ka ng lupa 5 years ago at nabili mo yun ng let's say 1,000 per square meters, today ano ang presyo ng per square meters ang mga lupain sa Pilipinas? I found out na biglang tumaas din ang zonal value ng mga properties sa Pilipinas. Halimbawa po, kung kayo nakabili ng farm, let's say at 500 square meters, nabili yun din ng 500 pesos per square meter, mahigit doble na po ang value ng pera nyo. Kaya maganda. You hang on to that property in 2 years. Kung gusto niyo ibenta, malaki na ho ang value ng property yun. You'll never lose. Hindi kayo malulugi. Huwag lang kayong magbenta na yung talagang kailangan nyo dahil syempre babarating kayo. Pero kung normal lang at alam nyo na tumaas na ang zonal value ng inyong investment sa atin, pag-aralan nyo din mabuti. Kwentahin nyo kung magkano. Kasi syempre may mga akibat na mga ano yan, mga gastusin pa yan, yung capital gains. Kung minsan yung nagbebenta siya pa ang magpapatransfer sa new owner, depende sa usapan. Kaya malaki-laki rin. Tignan yung mabuti, kwentahin yung mabuti o pakwenta nyo, pumunta kayo sa mga regional office dyan ng pagtatransfer ng real estate properties sa buyer. At pakwenta nyo kung magkano ang gastos nyo at saka ang kita ninyo. Ngayon, kung hindi maganda at hindi nyo naman gaano kailangan yung pera, wag nyo na muna pong ibenta kasi pataas ng pataas ho ang value per square meters ng mga real estate sa atin. Lalo na kung meron kayong commercial property, nakaswerte kayo ng commercial property, nakabili kayo doon, sobrang taas na po ngayon. Kaya nakakaawa din yung mga kababayan natin na walang kapasidad na mag-abroad at kumita ng dolyar o anumang currency yan, wag lang Philippine peso. Nakakaawa din sila kasi talagang pataas ng pataas ang presyo po ng mga bilihin. At nagrereklamo na nga yung mga, kasi sa atin wala namang ano dyan wala daw middle income na mga trabahador dyan. Meron lang daw tayong dalawang classification, yung rich and the poor lang. So yung poor talagang nahihirapan sila. Tapos ang nangyayari po ngayon sa Pilipinas, yung mga employers, nagiging cautious sila, hindi sila nag-hire. Kaya marami sa ating mga kababayan ang mga walang trabaho. Sa pagbabalik po natin, iba naman ang pag-uusapan natin. We'll take a short commercial and we'll be right back. Welcome back po sa Kababayan. Kasali kayo to my friends, my Chamorro friends, and who don't understand Tagalog. Welcome back. Just stay tuned and you as you go along with my show, you'll understand what I'm talking about because I go from English to Tagalog or Tagalog to English. Okay, so thank you for watching, and make sure you uh, go to Candid News Group, Candid News on Facebook and YouTube. Uh, like, you can make comments, press notification, and that's it. So every time my show comes on or the Candid News comes on, you're already automatically given you're already accessible. It's already accessible if you press like and subscribe. That's the most important thing. Subscribe. I'm not computer savvy. Anyway, please do that and follow me on live every Saturday, 7 a.m. That's the new time. And then if you miss it live, then we still have perpetual replays on Facebook and YouTube. Thank you so much to my followers who are awake with me every Saturday, and I really appreciate it. So let me just give you a rundown of the peso rate trends in the past 10 months. In January, the peso was flirting between 51 and 52 to $1. By May, it was between 52 and 53. By July, it went up to 54. And August, it jumped to 56 to $1. By the first week of September, it went from 1 week it's 58, another week it was 56, 57.65. Now as of Wednesday, it went up. It was playing on 58.10, and then it went up 58.20, and then when I left, it was pegged at 58.35. Now I'm talking about the exchange rates in the Philippines, not here. If the exchange rate in the Philippines was 58.35, here it will be lower because the companies that do the remittance companies have to make their money too, and that's understandable. Okay. Now lately, the Filipinos, especially the critical ones of the presidency of President Bongbong Marcos, has blamed the president because of this inflation and the weakening peso. I don't know about that. The president is currently in the United States, courting, inviting investors to invest in the Philippines. So I don't think Bongbong has any control about federal reserves, as much as Guam doesn't have any control over how the Feds raise its interest rates. So but that's politics. Filipinos always want to blame it on the sitting president, especially if that's not their godzu. That's not their choice for presidency. But others have also accounted or blame the inflation on the administration of the president of the Philippines, of the economy, and and also the fact that he just got elected in May, and there's already rampant corruption going on in the Philippines. And the latest involved his campaign manager during campaign time. His name, I believe, is Attorney Rodriguez. He was Bongbong's campaign manager, and he got involved or was named in the scandal, the corruption on the billions and billions of pesos spent on importing millions of tons of sugar in the Philippines. Should the president be aware of something like that? Does he have a hold on this corruptions that are ongoing around him? He should. He should be more aware. And people are criticizing him because his executive secretary, this attorney Rodriguez, he resigned, but from his post as an executive secretary to the president, but President Bongbong Marcos appointed him to another position. So where does that leave you as far as corruption in the Philippines is concerned? I think the president should be more cautious about what he does. I don't know, that's just my opinion. Okay. Sa mga kababayan, nag-uumpisa na ang mga mabibigat na corruption sa Marcos administration. Kaya itong si President Marcos at itong kapatid niya, na gustong-gusto ko pa naman, si Senator Amy Marcos, kung ayaw nilang mabatikos, iwasan nila yung mga corruption sa kanilang administrasyon. You know. And tinatanong ko rin sa sarili ko, I asked myself, during his inaugural speech, he did not touch on what he must do to lessen the corruption in the Philippines. He didn't talk about that. I was kind of disappointed. Okay, so we'll talk more about corruption in the Philippines in the future. But anyway, let me just mention, Eric, remember I was supposed to get freebies from McDonald's, and that didn't happen, and I don't want my viewers to think that I'm just, saying this just because I want to say it. But I did solicit some gift certificates or gift coupons from McDonald's of Guam, and I thought it was a sure thing. But then they came. Their marketing manager came back to me and very graciously said, "I'm sorry, Sally, we can't do it at this time because we've gotten a lot. We've promised others ahead of you." So that's okay, McDonald's. I'll wait because I do love your coffee. I drink your coffee almost every morning. So I will do a good promotion. Of course, when I get those free coupons and sell McDonald's coffees. So sorry about that. That's why we don't have, I haven't given out any because that's what happened. McDonald's has promised a lot of other, I know they give free coupons to events like the running club or just anything. So and these are groups that were ahead of me. but I can wait. Okay. Uh, do we have time, Eric, to talk? Yeah, we have about 10 minutes, right? Anyway, so the what do you call this? The mood in the Philippines right now is very pessimistic, and we'll just have to keep praying for the people of the Philippines that things would get better, that corruption be controlled by the current president, and a lot more. Okay, because the poor is getting poorer, and still the rich and the corrupt are getting richer. And I'm going to stop at that. My next, I just want to talk briefly about when I was there. I think this was on Monday, a few days before I left. There was an incident that happened in the year 2014 that involved a well-known Showtime, one of the Showtime hosts. Showtime is a program. It's a noontime program that was aired by ABS CBN. Okay, and it's very, very popular. It's the most popular noontime variety show in the Philippines. And this rape case that occurred in 2014 involved one of the regular hosts, namely Vong Navarro. That's his acting name. I don't know what his real name is, but they call him Vong Navarro. What had happened in 2021, January 14th and 17th? What had happened was, I guess Mr. Navarro was out and about, just having a good time without his wife and his family, and this was in the evening. And I understand he got what I read is he got a call from a wannabe pretty young woman, namely her name is Denise Cornejo, and she wants to be a model and an actress. That was her ambition. So she called Vong, invited him to her condo, and I guess one thing led to the other. Okay? And she claimed that Vong Navarro raped her, that the sex they had was not mutually consented, and Navarro is saying it was consented. There was a mutual consent. Okay, whatever the case, consented or not. On January 17, she called him again, invited him to her condo, and the alleged rape happened again. Now, how can two rapes happen just a few days apart if it was not consented? If there was no consent from this wannabe model and actress? I don't understand that. So, on the last time, on January 17th, so Vong Navarro goes there, and they got on what he alleged as consented sexual act. But after that, this wannabe model and actress called, I think, three of her friends and was claiming that she was abused by Mr. Navarro. So they came over, rushed over there, and really beat Mr. Navarro. I mean, his face, he had black eyes. His eyes couldn't open because of the beating that he got from three of this woman's friends. Okay. Make a long story short, the three guys involved in the beating, because Navarro filed the case, they got arrested. Okay, and then filed a case against the woman, and vice versa. The woman filed two cases against Mr. Navarro. That was for rape and act of lasciviousness. Okay, now the rape. Okay, so anyway, so they went to court, and Cornejo, the young woman, the woman that got involved with this case, and along with her three friends, were arrested and they were imprisoned. As a matter of fact, she was in prison for a long time, but it's a on their side, the woman and her friends, that was a bailable offense, beating up and all that. So they got out, they fought in court. Long story short, the regional trial court in Taguig found Mr. Navarro not guilty and dismissed the case. Okay? That was good. So 7 years or 8 years, because that was what, 2014? 8 years, the case surfaced like some kind of a ghost. On Monday, going back, so this woman, this wannabe model and actress, when Vong Navarro won the case, she appealed. So the case went to Court of Appeals. Okay. And after 8 years, imagine 8 years, that's how long appeals? Something wrong there. Anyway, but this is Philippines. So, anyway, so that she won that appeal. And so they overturned the Court of Appeals overturned the regional decision of dismissing the case. So last Monday, Vong Navarro was issued 2 warrant of arrest. Okay, one for the rape that was overturned, and then one for the act of lasciviousness. Okay, now the act. Here's something funny, and I don't understand. I need to speak to a Filipino lawyer that knows the laws in the Philippines, or maybe I can ask one of my friend lawyers here who knows something about the law in the Philippines. Because here's the odd thing: one judge issued a warrant of arrest on the case of rape. Okay. And that's non-bailable. And then hours later, after he turned himself in to the Bureau of, it's like the FBI, the National Bureau of Investigation in the Philippines. So Navarro turned himself in for the rape, for the warrant of arrest on the rape. And that's non-bailable. Okay, so he's in cell now. He's in jail now. Now, hours later, he was given another warrant of arrest on the act of lasciviousness, And that case is bailable. So what happens? He's in jail and then he's got this case that's bailable. Will he be allowed to get out of jail? Now that's a question that his lawyers are now fighting for because of the two warrant of arrest. And I think Vong Navarro is in for a big fight, and so we'll be watching that. And I have two questions. It's about those two bails. Okay, I mean not two bails, the two warrant of arrest, and the long process before the trial court decision was overturned. It took 8 years for the Court of Appeals to hand down a decision. And to me, that's rather unfair. Okay. Something has got to be done, seriously done, about the process of law in the Philippines. It just takes too long. There's a system where they use fiscal. They call them fiscal. These are attorneys turned fiscal, and they are the ones. These fiscals are the one that makes decision on probable costs, especially on or only on criminal cases. They have no business, doing or making decisions as far as probable cost on civil matters. That's my opinion. But lately, I know that they've been getting involved, and that's something I need to verify why that's happening. Okay. There's a lot of things questionable in the Philippines. I was a witness to a case in May, and I had a Zoom sort of a hearing, but then when they found out that I'm a U.S. citizen, I was told that no, I gotta go to the Philippine consulate here in Guam to do my testimony inside the Philippine consulate. Anyway, at that time, I think the Philippine consulate just opened its doors. So there was no circular from the Department of Justice to allow anybody, me or anybody, to testify in the vicinity of the Philippine consulate here. So that didn't happen. So the judge, again, we had a follow-up hearing, and the judge said, if I don't show up in the Philippines, then I'm going to lose the case. So what did I do? They set a hearing on May 24th, and I went there on May 18th, just so I respect the law, and I don't want anybody losing the case. So I went. Lo and behold, when I got there, I went to the RTC, and I was waiting for I would say about an hour, and I said, what's going on, nobody's calling me, and I was just waiting around. And then I finally knocked on the clerk's office, and I introduced myself, and I said, I'm here for the hearing. I'm a witness. And the clerk said, it's canceled. There's no hearing. And I said, what? I said, did you advise? You didn't advise me ahead of time. Well, the fiscal went on a junket. I say it's a junket. She knows I'm from Guam. She knows I'm going to be there. She knows the hearing was already set, but nobody advised my lawyer, or me for that matter. So I went there for nothing. I spent money on the hotel, my lodging, and my airfare, and not even an apology from the judge or the fiscal. So I went on as a witness on September 14th again, and guess what? This attitude, yeah, so righteous. And the fiscal, who's so adamant for me to be there or I'll lose the case, was there putting on her makeup, lipstick. I kind of lost my respect. I'm sorry. It doesn't work like that. There's no justice there. When you can't even summon ahead of time your witness that the hearing is canceled, there's no respect, there's no courtesy. I have a lot of bad things to say about that, and I'm gonna have my lawyer look into something like that. I believe we can lodge a complaint against that fiscal and that judge with the Department of Justice. So we'll see. Okay. Anyway, it's time for us to end our show. We'll be following up the Vong Navarro case because that's weird. That's very, very weird. And I'll get some answers to my questions. That way, the viewers will know how the system works in the Philippines. And then we'll follow up on, I'll be following up on other issues like on the corruption, on the mandatory child support. I wanted to talk about that, but I don't have the time. I'm so redundant in everything that I'm saying because I just want to, for clarity, I guess, for people to understand what I'm talking about. But I think I'm talking too fast. Anyway, mga kababayan, salamat sa panunood ditong Sabado. Tutok uli po kayo every Saturday, 7 a.m. in the morning is our new time. And if you have any concerns or you want to talk about me about anything, I'll be free to contact me via my email, sally@kanditnews.com. So watch my show, press like and subscribe, and comment too. Just be respectful. To my Chamorro friends and other non-Filipino viewers, thank you so much for watching every Saturday. And we'll see you soon. Next Saturday. Thank you.
In the Philippines, we don't say, come again, or excuse me, or what did you say, or I didn't hear you. In the Philippines, we say, huh? 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 Yan?